am showing you a behavior chart that actually works, or at least in my household it actually works. So what it is, it's a chart that has steps. So the first step is start, and that's what the chart stays on when your child has good behavior, you know, just going through the day, nothing bad's happening, they're not misbehaving, they're listening, so that's where it stays. So the next thing we have is warning. So if Roman does something, say I ask him to pick up his toys and he says no, I count to 3. I say, Roman, if you don't pick up your toys, I'm going to put your chart on warning. 1, 2, 3. And if I get to 3, then the chart goes on to warning. So there's kind of I count to 3 between each step as well, and it just gives him time to really think about it, thinking, do I really want to do what mum says, or do I not and want to get my chart moved? So then it will go on to warning. Then I'll say, Roman, pick up your toys. If he still says no, I will count to 3, and if you still don't pick up your toys, you will have timeout. 1, 2, 3. I count a bit slower than that, FYI. And then if he still hasn't done it, then he goes into timeout. The thing that I find works really well with timeout is getting the iPad and putting the timer up on the screen so he can actually see the time counting down. Otherwise, your kid's just sitting there and they've got no idea when they're getting up, and they're pretty much just not going to sit there and do timeout. They're just going to get up and down. Yes, we do have times where Roman does get up and down, but most of the time he will sit there and do it if I have the timer in front of him. And by that stage, he generally has done what I've asked him to do. But if he keeps getting up and down from timeout and refuses to sit down and do it, then he goes on to the last step, which is a consequence. Lose a toy, lose the iPad, lose TV, something that is valuable to him, he gets taken away. Most of the time it's a toy like the tractor, or his quiet time with the iPad gets taken away. Same thing, if you don't sit down on your chair and do timeout, you're going to get a toy taken away. 1, 2, 3, and then I'll take a toy. And usually about this time he's like having a real big tantrum and having a hissy fit. And like, if you want this toy back, you have to have good behavior, and that toy is taken away for either the rest of the night if it's bedtime, or the rest of the day, and he'll get that toy back the next day. So what happens if the chart goes down a level but then their behavior picks back up during the day? Well, I move the star. If you can see there, I've made a little peg with a star on it to show which level he's on. So say he's on warning, and then from that moment on he's, you know, showing good behavior. I don't leave it on warning the whole day. I put it back up to start, because I feel like I don't want him to have his chart on warning all day. If he has changed his behavior and has changed it to good behavior, I just don't think it's fair. So I move it back up again and we start afresh. The other thing we do is at night time when it's bedtime, if he's playing up, we skip out the timeout section, because around bedtime we just don't want to be having a yelling screaming match and having him getting up and down. So we skip out the timeout part, and we just go straight from warning to lose a toy. I didn't really think this chart would work, but we've had this chart for 5 months now, and it has been working really, really well. The biggest thing about it is if you want it to work, you have to stick to the chart. Martin is not very good. He's getting better now, but usually he just wants to send Roman to his room, and I have to remind him to stick to the chart, because that is what is consistent, and that's what the child will start to understand. I also like to really point out during the day when the chart is still on start. I say that well done for your good behavior, Roman. Look, come and look, your star has not moved. It is on good behavior, and Roman absolutely loves that. I really didn't think this chart was going to work, but he really gets really upset when I say it's going to go on to warning. He really doesn't like it at all. And most of the time this chart generally works by the time I get to warning. Most of the time I don't really have to move it down to timeout and lose a toy. So Roman's really started to understand what the chart is about and how it works, and he started to pick up toys on his own. He's starting to think about things that he's doing, the consequences of them. So if you're having a few behavioral troubles with your children, I really highly recommend this chart. Give it a go. Give it a good few months though. Like, don't give up within a week. We've had this chart for 4 or 5 months now, and I've just noticed over the past month Roman's really started to understand what it's about, and it really works. So thanks guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have some success with the behavioral issues in your household. Thanks for watching guys. Bye.